Hello, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'd like to start with something less popular. As you know, once the development, the LLM development is done, it's not the developers or product managers who's going to take it into production. It's us, the DevOps, the platforms, the infra team, the people who actually have to make it work. Well, the ones code when it breaks, we are the ones who code when it's cost too much, or when someone else realizes that you need to have a high available solution. So this talk isn't about the magic of language models. It's about the mess we inherit and how we can build some order into it by using tools that we already know, like AWS. I know this is a bit dramatic, but it's not wrong. LLM do not behave like traditional services. They're unpredictable, expensive. Keep in mind the huge data centers were built to support these increasing GPU demands and require different development patterns. May I say prompt engineering? They do break every assumption we've built our platform around. So, if we want to be ahead of the game, we have to evolve. Not to becoming data scientists or developers or GenAI masters, but applying our skills in a new kind of system. Myself, and I'm sure you also, using GenAI as our best buddy to writing code. It could be from Terraform modules to our CI/CD pipelines and much more. But there are other cases. For example, let's say we start an observability session. Once we detected, diagnose the issue, we want to go deep dive and understand what is the root cause. And we all know how much it's complex and takes time. GenAI can help us investigate faster and speed up the process by enable us to get a conversational prompt to discovering relevant metrics, for example, and traces, but also enrich it much more. We can read the relevant code, source code for us, and also it can take into account a relevant common technology knowledge. And finally, it will come with a potential root cause. And again, this is up to us to decide. Let's imagine another case. It's 3 a.m. in the morning and my Slack pings. It's a developer, and the line is, can you enable the debug container? It's called pod at agent manager. Can you help me to do so? You didn't build this, you don't know the base image, and it's really not your job, but it does. So you try to log onto your computer, you run kubectl debug, it's failed, all right, something happened. So it was a wrong endpoint, there is no shell, and even after you're doing the SSH and you be able to connect into it, there is missing tools. Now you're stuck troubleshooting the things that you are supposed to help to troubleshoot. This is a bit messy. GenAI can help us do so in a real way. So GenAI assistant and agent can integrate stuff such as parse the pod spec and detects the missing shell or entry point. It can suggest the current debug command. So maybe I need to add a minus minus copy tools or a sidecar with the relevant tools. It can recommend a base image like BusyBox or Ubuntu with already baked in network utility. And also it can highlight the common pattern based on the container image itself. So for example, you understand that this is a distroless image, so let's use a scratch-based debug pod. Is it powerful real? Yes, it is. It is, but we are staying in control. We are reviewing the output. We decide whatever to run it or not, sorry, and it calls a human in the loop. This is a modern framework like LangChain, CrewAI, and Bedrock agents are aiming to do. It's not replacing DevOps, but it's amplifying it. It's helped us to move faster under pressure without skipping safety. So no, we're not just supporting GenAI, we're finally getting support from it, which is great for us. So at first, everybody want to use LLM, and I think I'm hopefully I convince you too, and it's great. But I think the engineer may be very excited, as I say, the DevOps team are really excited. But very quickly, we end up adding stack over stack over stack of other technologies. We're adding more tools, wrapping more and more wrappers. So maybe I don't want to use the LLM. Maybe all we got is just making things much more complicated. Yes, we created it. We maybe invited chaos, but let's try to solve it. Now we're responsible for taking a black box that behave unpredictably and manage the log, performance, cost, security, and much more. But this is exactly where we are. The DevOps and the top of theme, we need to be ready and we need to be able to support our users, developers, product managers, and data scientists with a stable production environment to support our GenAI initiatives. So my name is Elad Hirsch. I'm working at TerraSky. We're helping customers, dozens of customers, deploying LLM solution on AWS, and we see firsthand the challenges that the DevOps team are struggling to in order to make any POC production ready into a real environment. I'm an AWS Ambassador Associate, and I really love to talk about technology and do it on a daily basis. So let's discuss about what are the mess when we're developing a Gen AI solutions. So it started with we need to support multiple foundation models and update versions. It's not something that we're going to do by ourselves. Doing the inference is something that is going to cost really, really a lot of money. We need to customize sometimes the model itself. It's also something that we need to do. What about data privacy and security? As we know, all the information is sending into the model and output from the model. Can we secure the model? Can we understand that only relevant information will be sent in and out? This is something we need to do ourselves. Getting foundation model to execute tasks, it's also very important. So we all know that we're shifting toward more agentic world. So it's not just I'm calling an API, getting a response. Now it's going to be a chain of actions, and I need to do one by one, and sometimes not just a chain operation. It's a graph of operation, which even make it more complex. And of course, it's maybe a multi-agent world. And also connecting our internal data into the model in a secure way, this is challenging. So this all these challenges, and of course manage the infrastructure, as we all know, it's based heavily usage on GPU. So all of these challenges, if you're not going into a managed service, all of these concerns we need to manage ourselves. And this is exactly when Bedrocks come in. It's let you access top foundation models from providers like Anthropic, Meta, and of course Amazon, like Titan, with a united API. You don't have to have the model yourself or manage them. It's a serverless based. You can send prompt into the Bedrock API and will get a response. And of course, getting all the other services, such as prompts, evaluation, and other stuff that your data scientists, developers, and teams will need. And of course, it will plug into any other environments and do the same as every other aspect, every service that you're using. And again, as other managed services, when we're selecting the service itself, it really is a balance between build ourselves or not. But here, it's much more like 10 times complexity to do it ourselves. But I was a bit wrong. Not every model in Bedrock is actually running serverless API. What you're looking here is a Bedrock marketplace. These are the models that run inside your own VPC as a containerized workloads. You subscribe, you provision it, and you host it yourself, and you're using GPU to do so. So suddenly, it's not just sending prompt. You're managing the life cycle, scaling, patching, observability of the models. This is another benefit that AWS Bedrock gives for you. And it means that you need to talk about tokens, IAM, guardrails, as it's not automatically applied if we're not going to use a managed service. Let's take a look on this one. It seems like a very, very innocent prompt. Can I check my IBAN? Yes, for sure, it's harmless maybe. But here's the actual catch. This is a financial identifier. We want to understand if it's sensitive information, and not always we like to send this information when we're supporting some kind of infrastructure to users. And again, this is just an example. This is a real DevOps problem when you think about LLMs. Input look like a product that can maybe create an actual risk. So in order to do so, we have a solution. Take a look here, as we said. So AWS Bedrock also provides us guardrails, and as you see here, we're applying in a multiple foundation model and agents in a central way. It can be configured to dismiss a harmful content filtering based on a response. You can define and allow deny topics, and also you can redact a sensitive information such as PII in the foundation model. And in our case, as you see here, any SSN number or also IBAN number will be disallowed for the model both in and out, and it will be redacted. And how it's going to work behind the scene. As you see here, the user output is going to be sent into the model. Then the model will analyze it before by using the guardrails, and you can see the four of them. It could be deny topic, content filter, sensitive information, and of course, word filters when you have your own taxonomy. Then, only after it was approved and not set aside or blocked, it will send the information directly into the foundation model. And of course, the same thing will happen when the foundation model wants to send the response back into the users. It goes through the guardrails and send back into the customers. Again, it's all about token. And let me be blunt a bit. This is where the money goes. Token, you may pay for its going in or out, But if you're not monitoring the token, and this is something our developers barely doing, you're not managing the cost. LLM are a rare case of verbosity equal to a very, very expensive solution. Most of the teams are forgetting about it. They're tuning for accuracy of the activity. They don't think about the tokens. So they're at a prompt endlessly. And when the bill hit, guess what? It's really us to decide what to do with it. And of course, they sometimes don't think about performance. So when the model evaluates thousands of probability and much more, the inference gonna kick in, and the latency stack up. And if you don't think about this stuff, you don't understand that it's gonna take time. So there is times that I'm sending the token, the time it's gonna take to tokenize my plain text, the time it's gonna run on the GPU, and it's called time to first token. And of course, the time you detokenize it after getting it into back into the client, and then only then you're going to get your first output token. And this latency sometimes can take a few milliseconds, but it can take back into even 2 or 3 seconds. And this could be really, really relevant for us as a DevOps engineer. And of course, you can get all this information creating dashboard, governance, and auditing by using CloudWatch to give you real access, CloudTray to log any activity, and of course, S3 bucket that we can send all the calling calls to the model both in and out. And this is really, really important. Another important aspect is our contract about data privacy. We send it into a public models. So this is very important for us. So there is a contract with Bedrock. Your data doesn't leave your account. It does need to be trained. It's not part of training the model. It's not going to be used across different customers, and it's going to stay in region. And this is not just a claim. This is a legal agreement. This is kind of clarity that give our operation teams and security teams and for us as a DevOps to be able to use this kind of solutions in a production environment. And of course, when you're talking about data connectivity, we have to do it right. And this is example how traffic flow should be when you're connecting LLM production. Think of it. When we're talking about moving into production, sometimes our model can be inferenced from another VPC, and we need to do some kind of a peering. Sometimes we want to use it as part of our data centers, and we need to connect it. So every channel that you have of network and connectivity will be part also when you're thinking about LLM model, and this is exactly how we're doing the Bedrock. So if you use, for example, AWS private link to reach Bedrock service securely, and not exposing it to the internet, this is all possible. And of course, encrypted the data, manage KMS key to do the encryption key itself, and of course, using a TLS to encrypt the data in transit. This is super, super important. And last thing, before we conclude, sometimes we just have to say no, and we have our own IAM policy to do so. So take a look in this example. In this example, we deny access for a specific model. Stop experimental workloads from using a high-cost providers. This is really important on us. We can prevent it by using unauthorized users from invoking anything with this model. Think of it as some kind of a kill switch we hope to never use, but we're really glad that it's here. To summarize the session, let me try to wrap this up. LLM are very powerful, but they're not just magic. They are definitely not maintenance free. As DevOps and IT leaders understand today, we're here not just to support the cool POC, but we are the ones who make GenAI work in production. And what we've seen with a lot of customers, AWS Bedrock is a great solution with a set of tools for manage it securely scalable and productive solution. It's from the guard to manage the IAM, from token monitoring and VPC isolation. This is how we're taking LLM from playground into a really platform. So no, it's not late to you to join the LLM party, and we are the ones who want to make it real as our DevOps teams. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate to be here.